Hello again. Hopefully again. If not, welcome to the cozy corner of the internet. I call this channel the Architect of Ideas because I have lots of ideas and sometimes we just hang out and I talk about them and I share them with you and maybe you find them interesting. But yeah, we kind of just hang out around here. So if you're not new, to grab your tea and to get cozy, and let's see what we have for today. Today, I have an interesting writing activity to share. I was bored the other day, and I decided not to use my computer or phone to search something up to do or to scroll. So I just sat there and let myself be bored. And eventually, my brain just came up with something to do. And that something was a writing activity and a writing experiment that I think I've tried something similar before, but not exactly. And it actually ended up with, I think, a poem that's like 2 to 4 lines long, which I think is like literally the best 2 to 4 lines of a poem that I have ever written. Personally, I think. I mean, it's not like everything I've ever written. Maybe you would find some of my writing better than this, but I think this was amazing, and I'm going to tell you what it is, and I'm going to tell you how I got there. How I got there. This book. Maybe I should tell you what it is first, because I really hate when those videos are like, I'm going to tell you something, and then they tell you at the end. That was not my intention, but given that I've already said that I think I wrote the best 2 lines of a poem ever, I think I should just read it to you and show it to you so we just get that part over with. An Ode to Life. And that's the name I titled it. Can you see it? Maybe. Here's the 2 lines of the poem. My heart feels impatient to happen, like stars feel impatient to shine. That was the end result of this writing experiment. And I love it because it's like, it's impatient to be what it already is. And I think that's such a beautiful paradox. I was like, my soul feels impatient to happen like stars feel impatient to shine. Ah, wow. It's like this is what poetry is when you're not directly explaining something, but in like some brief words, you communicate the wholeness of the feeling via metaphor or something else. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but this time it worked. Like that string, that weaving of words feels exactly like maybe not to you, but to me feels exactly like what I want to communicate, like that feeling. And I thought it was really, 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 really cool. So, yeah. And now back to, how did this happen? What is the writing experiment? And hey, if you want to do it, have fun. I welcome you to. I invite you to. So I was bored and I was like, okay, I'm not using my phone right now, not using my computer right now. What am I going to do? I look around, what books do I have? Here's a book. The Lord of the Rings Part 1, called The Fellowship of the Ring. It's not a book I've read. So, to anyone wondering, I haven't read this. But I was like, I want some inspiration. Like, I need some interesting sentences. And my first idea was, okay, I am just gonna scroll through this book. What is this called? Shift through? Scroll. I'm going to scroll through the book and I'm going to find some sentences that I like, take them completely out of context, just things that I think might lend themselves to something poetic. And then my original thought was, okay, I'm just going to compile a poem using just quotes from the book taken out of context. So I got a few quotes, and here's the ones that I chose from randomly scrolling through the pages. First one is, "Your party might be on a holiday," from page 211. I was like, your party might be on a holiday. I feel like that could go somewhere interesting. Then, second quote, "Well, you know your own business. Maybe." I was like, that could be interesting. Third quote, "Don't you worry till the morning." Definitely something there. Fourth quote, this one's from page 147. "The trees drew close on either side." That just feels very ambient. Then, fifth quote, "I felt certain he was looking or smelling for me." There's something interesting about that feeling of like when you know someone's looking for you, or when you know someone is just, I don't know, like, or maybe when you know someone's watching you. That's a eerie feeling. And then next quote is from page 404. This one is, "We have sat here beside the road already longer than wise." This one was my favorite out of all the ones I've chosen. I was like, I could completely imagine the setting. I was like, why is it not wise to sit for a long time by the road? Why are they sitting by the road? What is the story here, right? Next quote was on page 338, which is, "A real sunrise is mighty welcome." That was interesting. Awaiting a real sunrise. So then what happens? Why was it not a real sunrise before? Or, what is it? Where are they that they don't see a real sunrise? Or it could be metaphorical, right? Like, what are you missing? What are you awaiting? And then another quote, "My heart trembles at the thought that I may see them soon," which is a very interesting feeling as well. Who is it? Who does your heart tremble to see? And is it a good tremble, like an excitement, or is it fear? And, I feel like very, very poetic, or could be. Then I have the quote, "They stand tall in our dreams." That could also create such an interesting environment. Who's the they that stand tall in our dreams? What is the significance of them standing tall in our dreams? And maybe you don't even have to think through all the questions that I'm thinking through. I don't necessarily look for answers. When I have these questions, I'm like, okay, there's something here to be thought about, which I feel like gives it a little bit more of a wonder and awe sense, so that, I don't know. Direct also works and could also be interesting. And same thing with I don't know. I feel like just saying something directly is its own style of poetry, and maybe not the one I'm most interested in right now. So that's just that. Then the last quote which is 221, which is, I cannot imagine any animal running home to him once it got away. Wow. I cannot imagine any animal running home to him once it got away. Now, what does that say about him? Whoever him is. Like, what do you want to associate that with a particular concept? And who's the animal? Is it you? Is it someone else? Playing with the metaphors here. So I had my quotes and I started writing some poems. First, I kind of played around with this ambience, like the particular two lines of like the trees drew close on either side, and the we have sat here beside the road already longer than wise. And also those two just rhyme already. They just happen to rhyme. And I was like, that's nice. I like that. So first I wrote, I wandered through the forest. The trees drew close on either side. Then I sat down beside the road already longer than is wise. But my body remains without motion to move, while my mind makes remarks about time. Those were my first two additions. I was like, okay, I'm sitting by the road, and it's longer than it's wise, but I'm still sitting here. So why am I sitting here? Well, my body isn't moving, even though my thoughts might be. My thoughts know it's not wise, but my body's not moving. But my mind makes remarks about time. I was like, okay, let's keep going. I wandered through the forest. The trees drew close on either side. When I got out, I sat down beside the road, already longer than is wise. My body remains without motion, while my mind makes remarks about time. My heart feels impatient for laughter as I wait and I wait for something to happen. How do things happen? Do they just happen? Just do. If I wait and do nothing, will a happening bring me to you? Will any happening find me if I don't call out its name? I've lost happening, and now I sit and wait by the road mundane. So, here, I was playing around with just wanting something to happen. Like, he's just sitting by the road. Maybe he just wants something to happen. I don't know why I think it's a he. I don't know where I got that from. Maybe there's just a lot of he's on this cover. But yeah, so I was like, okay, let's play with that idea of waiting. Just waiting. What are you waiting for? I was like, okay, waiting for something to happen. And then I kind of thought about, personifying happening. It's like, well, I can call out its name. And what if I don't call out its name? What if I'm not actively looking for it as if it's a dog? Like, will it find me by itself? Will something just happen on its own? And so that's what I was playing around with in that second part. And I was thinking about calling this poem kind of The Road Mundane, because when you stop looking for happening, maybe it's less likely to come to you. Like, things are less likely to just happen. And so everything's just mundane. And so that's what you're sitting by. You're waiting by this road that's mundane. You're just waiting for something to happen. That was the thought. And then I was like, okay, well, I don't think the first half and the second half of the poem totally connect. And so I decided to incorporate calling happening in the beginning of the poem. I was like, okay, I wander through the forest, calling happening, happening, as the trees draw close on either side. I get out and I sit down by the road for longer than is wise. My body remains without motion, while my mind makes remarks about time. My heart feels impatient for laughter, like the stars feel impatient to shine. That's where that first part was like, I realized I wanted something to rhyme, and shine rhymes with time. So I was like, my body remains without motion, while my mind makes remarks about time. My heart feels impatient for laughter, like the stars feel impatient for shine. And then I was like, this still doesn't feel like it connects to the poem. I was like, I get out and I sit down by a road for longer than is wise, right? And I'm like, why does my heart feel impatient for laughter? Like, where is that coming from? Why laughter? And then I was thinking, my body remains without motion. I guess that makes sense, but I was thinking about what other ways can I say this? I was like, I get out and sit down beside a road for longer than is wise. My body finds stillness and wonder. My mind forgets about time, because I was thinking about this last line, like my heart feels impatient for laughter, like the stars feel impatient to shine. It feels like very awe-inspiring. It feels very wonder-like. And the first part doesn't. It feels like stuck. It feels like stuck without motion. So I was trying to put that wonder into the beginning part. And then I was thinking about how my heart feels impatient for laughter, like the stars feel impatient for shine. I'm like, the words for shine don't make sense, but I want there to be a pattern. I don't want to say my heart feels impatient for laughter, like the stars feel impatient to shine. And then finally, we reached that line. My soul feels impatient to happen, like stars feel impatient to shine. And it encompasses everything. It encompasses the whole thing about happening, and it mirrors each other, to happen, to shine, and it rhymes with the beginning part of the poem, but then I realized I don't even need that part anymore at all. Like, I like it, and I would like to find a beginning part to which this is like the last line, because it sounds good when it's the last line, and it doesn't sound good when it's like the line before the last line. Like, it doesn't have that same ending. And so I think, honestly, those two lines, they don't relate at all to the actual quotes I got from this book. Like, that's how this all started. They don't relate at all. I just got there, right? Anyway, I'm gonna read you my example of when this line is the last line of a poem, and then also when it's not, and you'll see the difference. So first is, I wander through the forest as the restart. I wander through the forest as the trees draw close on either side. I get out and sit down beside a road for longer than is wise. My body remains without motion, while my mind makes remarks about time. My soul feels impatient to happen, like the stars feel impatient to shine. Yeah. And the other way around is like, oh, I wander through the forest as the trees draw close on either side. I get out and sit down beside a road for longer than is wise. My soul feels impatient to happen, like stars feel impatient to shine. My body remains without motion, while my mind makes remarks about time. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Or even just skip the forest part, just this part. I sit beside an empty road for longer than is wise. My body remains without motion, while my mind makes remarks about time. My soul feels impatient to happen, like stars feel impatient to shine. Da 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 da. Right? We need another da 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 da. But I feel like it's too short if I just take out the my body remains without motion while my mind makes remarks about time. It's like I sit beside an empty road for longer than is wise. My soul feels impatient to happen, like the stars feel impatient to shine. Wait, I like that. I like that because I really, really like that image of sitting beside an empty road for longer than is wise. There's something about that just feels interesting. And I specified an empty road. It doesn't say that in the quote from the book, but when I was imagining it, I was imagining an empty road. So I needed that to be clear. Yeah, anyway. What do you think? I feel like I ask you what you think a lot in these videos, but I am curious. So, anyway, I really like the words, my soul feels impatient to happen, like stars feel impatient to shine. I feel like that's just a beautiful line. And I got there. So, woo! And then I think I actually liked the combined of I sit beside an empty road for longer than is wise. My soul feels impatient to happen, like the stars feel impatient to shine. So that's my writing experiment of the day. And thanks for sitting with me through my thoughts about, well, my explanation of what happened for me. Part of this is like just me because like telling this to you because I'm excited. But also part of it is, listen, like this is where the experiment took me. So this is an example. So if you do the experiment, you can do it as the experiment where you try to write a poem just out of the words, just out of the quotes that you randomly chose from the book. And you can choose some of them. You don't have to choose all of them. You can add your own or fill in the blank. Mine completely basically strayed away from that. I didn't even use the other lines, though maybe I will, but I feel like when I wrote them out and I read them back to myself, I really felt which ones were most interesting to me, and I just went off of those. So, yeah, it kind of just started out of nowhere and out of boredom, and I ended up with a poem or two. I'll figure out which one I like and which one is like the one I'm going to go with for sure, but this is definitely going to be one of the poems if I make another poetry book. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you. It can be fun to play with words. Sometimes it's difficult. Communication can be difficult, but sometimes you just hit the right chord, the right note that feels right to you. And that's when it's just so fun. Because you don't know if you'll get there. You don't know when you'll get there. You start who knows where and go, and then sometimes it's just, woo, ah, yee, woo. Okay, see ya. Bye.